collaboration of coming together and understanding that most of you spend a great deal of time out on the road working in homes. And there's a whole lot of stuff in the houses that you walk into. And sometimes you don't know what you're walking into. I could not think of a better person to have come in to address the issue of what's going on with opiate abuse, with heroin abuse, with drug abuse that's going on in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Kemp.
This class is really going to talk about most about methamphetamine and heroin and the evolution of heroin, and where we're at, where we're going. A little bit about myself. I've worked in narcotics for 21 years. I worked on the west side of Cleveland. Worked for Lake County for about 19 years. I'm meth certified. I've been on the first meth lab in Lake County. In 2008, I was really heavy in meth cases in Asheville. I arrested probably about 100 people, hundreds of search warrants, 1,000 drug interviews. It doesn't matter what it is. Ultimately, in the drug world, drugs are sold by weight. And it's not necessarily by ounces and pounds, but it's always by the gram. 80% of everybody we arrest do not have a high school diploma. But every single person out there that's in the world of drugs understands gram weight. Because with drug weights comes drug prices. And with drug prices, how do these people afford these drugs? Because when somebody has a drug habit, as you know, it's an addiction. And that addiction is fueled by some way of buying this drug. A drug dealer deals in big weight. A drug user will pretty much be an ounce or less. So what is a gram? A gram is equivalent to one sweet and low package. For the last 10 years, we've had a problem with pharmaceutical drugs. And it's not just in Asheville County. It's not just in northeastern Ohio. It's throughout the country, period. Heroin right now in Lake County, Asheville, about 120 to about 180 is about the average price for a gram of heroin. We all have clients that are on heroin, yes? How many of them have a job? How much do they make per week? If they don't have a job or have a job and it doesn't equal what they spend in their heroin use, and if I ask somebody right now, how much heroin do you use a day, and you tell me a gram, that tells me that on 7 days a week, and a gram's $150, probably over $1,000 a week. How do you honestly afford rent, food, car payments, and afford $1,000 a week habit? Heroin is a Schedule I narcotic. What do you think a narcotic actually is? It relieves pain, it induces sleep, and without ample supply in your body's going to go through withdrawal symptoms, and you need it to survive. Color of heroin doesn't really matter. If you ever smell heroin, we have a sicky vinegar smell. That's the best thing I can associate heroin to smell like. But of all the drugs that are actually out there, if you're going to physically look at somebody and say, you're on drugs, opiates is probably the only drug I can honestly tell you that most of you will probably be right on the money because of them having pinpoint pupils. Heroin people, they wake up and they say, man, I need heroin right now because they feel sick. And they need it just to be normal. It's not that they get high anymore, they feel good about it. They need it just to be normal. Somebody on heroin, back in the day, it was kind of funny because she was normal, just happy and giddy. And as soon as she shot, she came out of the bathroom and you could see an immediate change in her demeanor. Her eyes almost looked like they were black. She was very slow, very lethargic. She wasn't running around. The same type of person that you saw. Everything I talk about today is what I see every day in real life. Heroin will never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever go away. In Lake County, the first meth lab was found July 6, 2000 in Painesville Township. All it is looks like a dirty garage. Anytime you see any container, any bottle, anything with some bullshit hose coming off the top, it's not a straw, this ain't a bong, this will not contain anything that's good for you. You never, ever, never, ever, ever sniff any chemical or any container. Do not do this. Do not do this. Okay? That's a bad thing. Nothing good is going to come out of it. In 2002 to 2005, pseudoephedrine was starting to be ripped off the shelves. So we're going to go over to Walgreens and we're going to steal it off the shelf. And they were buying and stealing as much as they wanted. Nobody cared if they bought 20 boxes of pseudoephedrine. They didn't care. Every day, it was gone. We put it up on the shelves, boom, it was gone. So we got rid of it. I don't give a shit if you wanted one box of Sudafed. If I know that you're buying it to make meth, I'm going to arrest you and charge you with felony. It's that simple. I don't care how many boxes you buy. It doesn't matter. There's nothing about over the limit. People don't understand it. The government started regulating pseudoephedrine, and they said that in all 50 states, that pseudoephedrine is not restricted. You're only allowed to buy no more than 9 grams a month, and each person can only buy 3.6 grams a day, with the total of 9 grams is the max. 9 grams is enough pseudoephedrine to last you 35 days. There's 350 possible chemicals to make meth. 50 to 60 common chemicals are normally found, and each meth lab contains about 6 to 9 different chemicals. You all have hydrogen peroxide, I guarantee it. You probably have isopropyl alcohol. You probably have matches. You might have pseudoephedrine. You have heat bottles, probably in the garage, but all these things are somewhere in your house. But they're not all together. One telltale sign of somebody that's using methamphetamine are light bulbs. What's happening with meth people is they'll actually hollow out the metal filament in here. We cut that out. We'll actually heat a part of the top of this and poke a pinhole through it. We'll pour the meth through the hole into the bottom and light the bottom of it and smoke it. And that is basically a device that they use to ingest meth. Now let me tell you this. Every meth person that makes meth likes to burn their evidence. I find fire pits everywhere. If you own property in Asheville County, some guy's on your property or girl, and you find a fire pit in there, you better go looking in your fire pit. And what you're going to find in backyards, in houses, there's going to be the one thing that's going to survive of all meth evidence is going to be casings of batteries. They survive. And when I find a broken casing in a fire pit, I know they made meth and they burned their evidence in from the store. So if you're at your house and you have somebody you suspect making meth, and you know they have a fire pit in the backyard, guess what I tell you to go looking? In the fire pit. You're never going to stop this. This thing's out of control. And ultimately, I don't think that treatment's going to be all that good for some of these people because they're not going to get off it. And if they do get off it, they're going to have a hell of a battle. And I do believe that HIV and hepatitis in the next 5 years is going to go way off the charts. I think you are going to see a huge rash of thefts, burglaries, and robberies like you've never seen before. It's just getting worse and worse. I think it's going to be a bigger problem than you guys even realize. Well, with that, enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you, Brad. All right, guys, see y'all later. Thanks for coming.